takeoff. The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
Good day again, everybody. This is Ari from remote. Half an hour or so since 10 kilometres to the south, and I'm now at Cleveland Point, where I was at Wellington Point before. And Cleveland Point is well known now for the Cleveland Point Lighthouse, which you're now looking at. Hello, Mike Roche and Adrian. Hey guys. Just flying here at Cleveland Point on Moreton Bay. We're looking there at the Cleveland Point Lighthouse, which I can't really do a full orbit around because I'd end up overflying people. But this is one of, we don't have sort of history even to the level of the United States, let alone Europe. But this is a bit of history here. The lighthouse was constructed in 1864 and operated right through to 1976. It was an oil and gas unit at first, and they converted it to electricity in 1934. And it's got a few claims to fame apart from its age. It's a hexagonal wooden structure. There were others made, but I understand there's only two still surviving. And it's had a succession of lighthouse keepers, but a fellow by the name, I think it was John Troy from memory, he and his family minded the light here for 50 years, ending in 1927. And that made them the longest serving light keepers in Australian history. So you'd want to be dedicated. It's now been replaced with a concrete and steel pylon, which is nowhere near as romantic as the little weatherboard thing. I'll come in a bit closer if I can, just grabbing a bit more height. Unlike over at Wellington Point, where I was flying before, I'm not even close to the boundaries for the airport, so I can use a bit more height than I was before. There's nothing over this way, so I'll swing around and give us a little bit of perspective. Oh, that's a horrible pad. Matt North will be taking me to task for that. Saying on the last stream, guys, this is still probably about my 8th only flight on the M2Pro, and I haven't gotten around. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I haven't gotten around to turning down the gain on my sticks. So I'm either going to have to do that or get Mike to make me a set of his patented controllers, because he does a damn sight better with his than I do with mine. But there you go. So I'm just having a look at the, hey Chris, good to see you. I'm just looking at the phone. I've got my phone buffering a bit. Sorry guys, I'm streaming at a solid 30, so it's probably your links or whatever. But good to see you, Chris. I've got my phone sitting in the bough of a tree. So every now and then I look over my shoulder and have a look. And since there goes somebody in a Lamborghini. Since I flew over at Wellington Point about 3/4 of an hour ago, the wind has started to come up, as you can see by some of the wave action there. I'm just going to do a little bit of a nose-in circuit, manual nose-in circuit of the area. Again, like Cleveland Point, this is Cleveland Point, like Wellington Point, this is another one of those areas that the residents of southeast Queensland flock to on the weekends for the picturesque ability. Moreton Bay is beautiful in that, we've got many islands, and on the other side of them, of course, is the Pacific with the Great Ocean Swell. But in here, we can get a couple of metres, 6 feet in bad weather. But generally speaking, we don't get any terrible weather. And it's absolutely beautiful here. And we've got all the Bay Islands, which I'll turn the you know what? Did I start recording? Yeah, I did. Didn't do that last time. Living the dream. Well, thank you very much for the comment. I don't know how beautiful my control is. I keep referring to Matt North from Northeast Drone Productions. He's a friend of mine who lives here in southeast Queensland, and I use him as my benchmark. He really can do some great stuff cinematically. I'm well experienced on the sticks. I've been flying radio control for 30 years. I've got an instructor's certificate, and I'm FAI certified for F fixed wing, R rotary, and S space rocketry. Yeah, rockets, I know, kaboom. And I teach, I used to, so I can fly, but when it comes to one end of a camera to another, that is another matter altogether. Bit of wave action there going on the seafront there. I'm just poking my head out from those trees. You can see the lighthouse disappearing behind the trees there. I'm sort of near the amenities block, you can see. Don't know why I'm pointing that out. I'm always at pains to show that I'm trying to keep within the rules of line of sight, etc. The rules don't always make sense, but they are there. Yeah, Adrian, it's come up in the last 3/4 of an hour. I would say that I've got about 15 kilometres an hour of wind, 10-12 mile an hour out of the southeast. And I'll try and sort of turn a bit so that maybe less of the microphone is in the wind. If that's a little less wind noise for you, let me know. Yeah, guys, anyone who wants to visit the other people's channels here, I know that some people get a bit funny about, what do they call it, sub for sub. I don't see it that way. I see us as a community. We're assisting each other to so feel free when you're in the chat to hint that to one another. I think YouTube takes a dim view of it, but when you have a look at their latest terms that we had to agree on, or just drinking, yeah. I love the bay here. So there we have it. I'm going to pan up and across a little. This is Cleveland Point on Moreton Bay, Queensland. We're moving down. Would remember Victoria Point. That's where I attempted to fly a few months ago and got chased out of the air by 3 eagles. So that wasn't fun. I'm going to go in a little bit more height too. Sorry about the jerky movement. We're coming up just at 100 feet. I don't want to go too high. We do get aircraft around here, although I have no restriction. I'm just being sensible. I'm going to pop up to about 200 feet and give you guys a look around the bay. Plenty of battery in hand. So that's a bit better on the wind, Adrian. Excellent, mate. I'm just sort of looking sideways at the drone now, so if I get a crick in my neck, I'm blaming you, buddy. And here we've got somebody coming in with a boat. Let's go on out and have a bit of a look. At least as far as I can go. I'm 170 feet out. We'll wander out a bit. Let's see if we can't watch these people. Occurred. Retry. Okay. Thomas O'Sullivan back again, my friend. As I said, Tom, that was Wellington Point. This is Cleveland Point. You probably missed the beginning with the lighthouse. We're looking out over Moreton Bay towards the Pacific Island now. Pacific Ocean. I do this, I notice when I listen to my own streams afterwards, I often start saying something and I either say the wrong thing or I don't complete what I was going to say. Frighteningly enough, they tend to understand that. I don't know. I don't really want to go much further out than that. Just the line of sight business. The distance doesn't bother me. Worst that's going to happen is there's going to be a kaplunk. I'm probably not going to fly a third battery today. You can see just in the distance the sand hills. That's on North Stradbroke Island. Just to the north of that is Fraser Island, the world's largest sand island. Alright, we're going to turn back towards, pan around towards the north. Eventually you may see the Port of Brisbane facility come into to frame. There's the derricks and the cranes. I can't see them on the screen of the iPad mini because it's 34 degrees and Celsius, that is. Yeah, you do it as well. Yeah, it's shocking, isn't it? You're concentrating trying to talk. Okay, I'm just going to head back towards me, put a bit of speed on it. I'm still being pretty gentle with the Pro. I haven't had it long compared to my other drones. I've only had this one since about October. I've flown it about 8 or 9 times. As I was saying during the other stream, I don't know, I'm going to keep this one. I'm very intrigued by the Autel Evo 2, which, according to the specs at least, will do everything that this will do. I'll probably keep my Mavic 2 Zoom because the Evo doesn't have a zoom function, but I can see myself selling the Pro for an Evo. But my wife was down at the shops, repeating what I said earlier, my wife was down at the shops near my dealer, who knows us by sight, surprise, surprise. There's the Lighthouse there, Tom. That she was down there earlier on this morning, and she came home and said he was thinking of becoming a dealer for Autel, and he tells her that we're not going to see the Evo 2 in Australia in under a year. I don't know whether that's to do with the announced delay in its release, or whether it's just to do with the fact that we're in Australia. And I was telling Tom in the last stream, my wife brought home a box from the shops, which I don't know what's in. It's just a brown cardboard box. It's at home, and she's told me to open it and to film it later, so I'll be doing that. So keep your eyes peeled, guys. But, yeah, we're still streaming away at 30 frames. There's the Lighthouse for you, Tom. That's why he was telling the guys there. That was made in 1864. It was one of only 2 hexagonal wooden lighthouses left, apparently. So that's good. It's good that it's still here anyway. They decommissioned it in 1976. And, it has the distinction that the lighthouse keeper and his family up to 1927 served for 50 years. The longest serving lighthouse keepers in Australian history, apparently. I don't think the fish and chip shop over there was there in those days, so probably couldn't quite enjoy himself as much. Get one shipped from the USA, Tom. I wouldn't do that for the same reason that I wouldn't get the Skydio that way, which is service. Especially when I'm using them for commercial, to do with the business. If I need them fixed, I need them fixed, and I can't. The Autel would become only 10 colour camera. If I wanted it fixed, I sort of need that's why I only have DJI. People think I'm a DJI diehard or whatever. In Australia, they're pretty much the only dealer with a network and a repair agent. That's why. It's all about just practicality. And as you can see, get a lot of cars through here, sightseeing on the weekend. I'm just creeping closer to the lighthouse. The wind's come up today. I'm hiding behind the tree to try and minimise it. Historical. The only reason I do that is because I'm a big mouth. No, I am interested in the history of places, and I tend to babble on about it when I'm flying. And I've had a couple of people, notably Rick Halber, say to me that they find it interesting. So I try and make a habit of it. I'm just going to take a little run along the waterfront here, and I'm going to give a few dates. Normally I just go from memory. No, that's all good. I didn't think you were making fun of me. I knew that you were sincere. I feel a little self-conscious. I love flying the drones, and I love doing the pictures and putting it up and all that sort of thing, but I am a little self-conscious on camera and even my voice. And considering I have been a professional musician at times in the past, it's a bit odd, I know. Alright guys, we're down into the 40s%, and I never like to hammer the battery too hard, so I'm going to come back home and land, and that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for joining me again. I'm going to try and get out again. It's Saturday afternoon my time here in Eastern Australia. I'm going to try and get back again next Saturday. What I do is I come out and I bring my elderly father. If you heard me call him that, I'd be in trouble. He's only 80, a spring chicken. I try and bring him out for an outing and fly somewhere pretty. So hopefully I'll see you guys again. Yeah, Mike, isn't it? I still get that feeling, and I'm really quite tech savvy. I'm first wave IT. I was on the internet when it was the ARPANET, And still, even after all these years, when I'm watching you guys doing your live streams and this sort of thing, or I think to myself, yeah, that is a half a world away. And when I was young, there was none of this. Although I don't do it much anymore, I'm what's called a full call or advanced class radio amateur, a ham radio operator, VK4ARI for anyone wondering. And I can remember when that was considered to be pretty high tech. Now they can't get people. They make the license easier every year. I had to do Morse code to 12 words a minute when I did mine. Now, not anymore. Mind you, I had to do Morse code for 30 words per minute for my maritime operator certificate, so that wasn't too hard. I'm just hiding under that tree right now. I'll come out and wave at you guys. There I am. Okay, now I'm going to go back in the shade because I can't see the screen. I'm going to put the drone down now, guys, so thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you all the next time around. It's a bit hard for me to tell on the phone who's there. Oh, Andy, good, hey mate, you arrived just at the end with Mike and Andy and Tom, Chris, living the dream, and I know I've forgotten somebody, but I don't want to let go of the controller and scroll down. Adrian, oh gee, see, for such a good memory I don't do too well, do I, guys? Alright guys, I'm going to put the bird on the ground now and I will catch up with you all later. Thank you very much. This is Ari from Remote Pilots Australia, and I'm going to sign off now. And I always try and cease the transmission before I land in case I crash it. Maybe I shouldn't. Okay, last look out to sea over the mangroves before I shut it down. Thanks everybody, it's been a blast, and until next weekend, this is Ari and I'm signing off.